Welcome to the Your Desired Success Foundation Mastermind, all around paying it forward with the golden rule, which is do unto others as you would have done unto you. And we are focused here around paying it forward with our knowledge, our value, our experience, and helping each other move forward to win at the game of life. Now, Napoleon Hill here, who's the author of one of the most famous books of success called Think and Grow Rich, he spoke about the power of the mastermind in chapter 10. And within this book, he actually said that the mastermind is the principle through which you may borrow and use the education, the experience, the influence, and perhaps even the capital of other people in carrying out your own plans in life. It is the principle through which you can accomplish in 1 year more than you could accomplish without it in a lifetime if you depended entirely on your own efforts for success. So there's a lot of true depth there. And for those of us who have been accessing the power of the mastermind and choosing to show up and give value as well as receive value, have all noticed significant improvements in our lives. So let's kick off with the mastermind principles. Veronica?
The purpose of the mastermind is to share our value and connect with like-minded people in order to create wealth in all areas of our lives.
We are here to inspire and challenge each other to reach and exceed goals.
Each member is committed to their own success, as well as the successes of every member of the group.
We are committed to meeting in person virtually for 1 hour every week.
We are present. There is no multitasking or distractions during meetings.
We are collaborative and we listen without interrupting, lecturing, or judging.
We celebrate each other's successes without jealousy.
We are honest and participate by giving thoughtful feedback.
We are open and listen to different perspectives without being defensive or offering excuses.
We trust fellow members enough to share fully.
Oh, is it me? We are focused, but we also think it's important to have fun during meetings.
Are we focused, Rosa? Are we?
Obviously not.
We are real and authentic. This is a no BS zone.
We allow ourselves to become completely aligned with each other and the high forces, one mind, one soul, one love.
Yes, well done there, Veronica, getting to finish us off there. That beautiful one, big thumbs up there. So, powerful topic today, all around decision. So, you ladies made the choice of decision there. I think possibly Roger will have as well. Roger's doing his work and stuff that he needs to do. So, we're going to dive into this. But before I get into the book, and I've got loads of notes that I'd like to go through with you all, I'm going to give you an overview of decision, especially for those people who are just coming on and listening and want to wrap their head around what it is. So a vague wish is the opposite of a definite decision. Everyone wishes to have more money, free time, and love. But when you only have a hazy idea of your desire, you can't tap into the storehouse of power available for infinite intelligence. People without a clearly defined purpose procrastinate and put off achieving their goals because you can't hit a target you can't even see. Instead of making vague wishes, Napoleon Hill recommends that you make a conscious decision. Set a target, whether it's $100,000 per year, enough money and free time to spend a week in the Bahamas, or something else, and make a decision to aim for that target. You'll need a certain state of mind to empty this principle. One of the first decisions you'll need to make is to be mindful of your thoughts and your feelings. That is one of the requisites for benefiting from this philosophy. Okay, so we're starting to now get a very powerful ground level foundation of what we're going to build upon from a decision angle. Now, show of hands, who read the chapter Decision?
A while ago.
Okay, a while ago. Right. Okay, cool. What I'm actually finding is that even though I also read it a while ago, reading it now, it's amazing to see how much I've moved forward in my life, how much I've grown. And just to remind you all, sometimes the video pauses for me because I'm hotspotting off my phone based on where we are. So just if you want to raise your hand or you want to speak, you might have to just click on raise hand so it shows it up, or put an emoticon on the screen, or just interrupt me at any point. It's perfectly fine. Well, what we're going to dive into here is actually around the beginning of the book. So in the chapter around decision, the first thing that I've highlighted is right at the beginning, and I always highlight right at the beginning because it really sets the foundation. And remember that a lot of what Napoleon talks about in here, even though the book is all around riches in all areas of our lives, a lot of it is based on money, because most people want money. Most people are attracted by money. They have this fascination with money, and we can't get enough of it. But we know with the deeper work we do that money is just an energy that's flowing through, and therefore if we're focused on all energies flowing, money is going to naturally come in. And if we're accepting it to go to where it's supposed to go to, because money's not supposed to just come to us and stop, it's supposed to flow. If we want it to flow in, it must be able to flow somewhere else. It's a value to where we're going, hence the importance of, as shared within this chapter, of being clear on your desire, being clear, having a definiteness of purpose, all the stuff that's right at the beginning. So here it says, accurate analysis of over 25,000 men and women who had experienced failure disclosed the fact that lack of decision was near the head of the list of the 30 major causes of failure. There is no mere statement of a theory, it is a fact. It is a fact that a lack of decision is what caused the failure in their lives. So we really need to be looking then about how do we create that certainty in the decisions that we're making. And we touched on it before, because when we're clear on that definiteness of purpose, when we're clear on the goal, when we're clear on the desire, we're then going to be able to make conscious steps forward. We're going to be able to make decisions easier instead of hesitating. So with that in mind, can you name a time in your life when you were guilty of a lack of decision? When you were guilty, and I'm not guilty is not from an angle of disempowering you, but it's just a word I'm using to bring this up. So a time in your life when you were guilty of making a lack of decision, which resulted in something that you didn't really want to happen. Anyone?
Well, at the moment, I'm in a state of indecision, but it's because I'm waiting for more information. So it's not a procrastination thing. It's that I do need to wait to get someone that's like, but I know there have been times where I've definitely been undecided and procrastinated and just put it in the corner because it's not in line with my values, but I haven't really identified that, or it's something I really, really don't want to do.
Yeah.
And again, that probably comes back to being out of alignment with my values.
Yeah, thanks for sharing there, Veronica. Anybody else?
I was just going to say, don't you think that in life sometimes and quite often we don't make decisions because we either don't have all the information, or we are trying to please too many people instead of pleasing ourselves. So therefore, and I don't mean this disrespectfully to Martin and to Roger, but I think as women as well, we have to make a lot of decisions that we wouldn't really want to make because as a mother and a grandmother and a whatever, a wife, you're always taking into consideration that other element. I don't know whether you agree or not, but that's and for me, I make a decision. I can go so far for so long, but then once I've made that decision, there's no turning back for me. I've made it. It doesn't matter what anybody else does or says. I've made that decision. So
that's where I get it from.
I love it. Well, sometimes you think you've got the right decision and you discover it's the wrong one. Or other times for me, I'm talking me, you worry about the outcome if you make a decision for everyone else and you've left the building on your own decision for yourself. Like you're making a decision where you're thinking of the whole bloody team, but it's not really your core value, like Veronica's saying, because you've suddenly got the team to take care of. And I don't know if it's a woman thing, but then you're sort of looking at the bigger picture for everyone else and making a decision from that rather than what's your core value. Because even in a team, you're still the unique you needing to go with your core value. Or otherwise you're coming from a half-empty cup, and that's not enjoyable after a while.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful shares there. The it reminds me of when we're saying the there's a couple of things I'll touch on. Carly mentioned then about the team player, and my mum saying around like the female role and the male role, so to speak. When you're building a team, and maybe if you take yourself back to possibly as a child when you may have played sport, and you may be still playing sport right now, I don't know, but I remember, and it's only as I've got older that I've started to become more aware and in a way have created a level of wisdom to what was going on. But when you think about a captain, so I'll talk about football, for instance, the captain's role is to make sure she or he is aware of where everyone is and what the role that they're doing, and making sure the communication to that person is relevant to the role that they're playing. So for instance, as a captain, let's say in the middle of the field, my communication to the defense is completely different to my communication to the attackers. My communication is constantly shifting based on what we need the outcome to be. The outcome's the same for everybody, wants the same outcome, which is to basically score the goals in the other opposition's goal and win the game. But everyone plays a different role. And the role of that captain is to basically be able to see and communicate without, and this is part of that growth thing, and this is part of like the decision making around without patronizing, without attacking anybody, without losing the focus and the true core desire. Because at the end of the day, when you look at it on a surface level, the whole focus of coming together is for a result. Everybody rocks up on that. Like right now, we're going into the European finals of England versus Italy. So England wants to beat Italy. Italy wants to beat England. And naturally, there's all this energy outside of that that's being created via the fans and the world and so on. So when we look at it, there's a desire that's created straight away. So the decisions are all very clear as to what the team players are going to be doing. Their focus is, we want to get that ball into the opposition's half where we can score. Do you see how when you're clear on what the desire is, what the goal is, no pun intended with the goal, all of a sudden, the actual how and the steps and the action and the communication starts to come out, because everybody's clear on what the goal is. So when we look here at where we are right now in this mastermind, our goal is to come on this to give, to receive, to become better versions of ourselves. We often don't appreciate the value that we actually receive and the growth that takes place, because it's very hard to actually be able to categorize it or put it on a chart as to the growth that's taken place. But it's only in a moment of a thought, a communication that's a byproduct of the thought, the experience that you have, that you are able to go back and go, wow, it was because of somebody else who shared that I received that, and I was able to be better and deal with this maybe more. Maybe I was able to I am who I am, and I'm seeing things like this and I'm communicating like this because of putting myself in environments like this, because I wasn't thinking like that when I was playing football. All I was thinking about was make sure that that person who was the attacker, because I was the defender, didn't get past me. And if I had to take him down and hurt him, that's all that I was bothered about. But I don't think like that anymore, because as you grow and you evolve, and the beautiful thing about it is that we're a team here. The only reason why you wouldn't feel a part of the team is if you don't believe you want to be a part of the team. We're all the team players right here and now. I'm the facilitator who just started the call and creating the angle of where we'll go. But you're all playing a vital role in the result of each other's growth as well as your own. And that's a beautiful place to be. And it's a decision that you made to be here.
Martin, I love that. And everything you just shared just clarified why no matter what part of that process, no matter where you are in it, whether you've created the team already, whether you're in the implementation of making a team, whether you're at the start of it, just get clear, decide, and have a goal. Like clear on the goal, clear on the decision, clear on the clarity of the whole thing. No matter wherever you are, no matter what part of the step, whether you're at the end of the team making, whether you're at the start, whether you're just you and you want that, just get clear, make the goal, hold the vision, decide.
Yeah, beautiful, Carly. Anybody else got anything on that before we roll on? Because I think it's definitely important to know that the deeper you go within and you open the door inward, it's not just well, that person's female, so that person just can naturally take over that role. That person's a man, he can just take over that. As we constantly work on ourselves to evolve, we're opening that feminine and that masculine door. And at any given time, like the pendulum, we're constantly swinging. And as we become more open-minded to that and not judge a person based on their sex, we're constantly learning and letting that information in. We're able then to adapt. I know there's times when I've been super in my powerful feminine, and there's been times when I'm in my super masculine power. Now, the beautiful thing is they're two completely opposites, but they're both extremely powerful. And they're powerful in their own right when I know when they need to be utilized. So I know that if I want to get into that stuff done, like when some of you know that what we were creating before, it required an incredible level of masculine energy, is what I felt. And I was very strong, bold, and to the point, which the feminine might see that as an attack. But it wasn't an attack. It was just because I wanted and I needed and I had this desire to get this stuff done. But I could not maintain that, because if I had maintained that, I would have crashed, because I needed to let the feminine back in, and the feminine being whatever it was going to be for me. Whether that's slowing down, whether that's actually going in and grounding like Carly was encouraging me to do, whatever it would be. You know, when we look at what my mum said earlier on, it's like that natural instincts of the female to protect, to nurture, to look at how can I make sure everybody's taken care of, whether you're a parent or not. It's irrelevant. That's mainly what the natural role of it in every species. And the male role was like there to go out and try and hunt and bring back and gather and deliver and go, there you go. And you know, you do what you want to do. But we really know that all males are terrified of the female, because the female can give birth. I mean, what's more powerful than that, to bring life to the world? And that's all through a decision. All through a decision. Every part of it, and that's you know, maybe just drifting a bit. What might feel like we're drifting, but it's really important to get clear on that. There's times in our lives where decisions are made based on where we're shifting through the feminine and masculine, and it's beautiful to be in a state of balance. But we don't want to. When we're in a state of balance, we're like that. Hence why it's good to go up and down, to feel them and appreciate them, because then I can relate. When my mum needs feminine Martin on a call and I need to be there, and I just need to shut up and not be telling her that she needs to get out there and do whatever, I can be there. But when I'm like, hey, come on, mum, stop stroking yourself. You've stroked yourself long enough now. You're procrastinating, which is another chapter coming up very soon. Time to make a decision based on your desire you told me all about. The desire to make sure your son is financially funded for the rest of his life. All these things. This is where it's important to just really reflect on. Does anybody have anything they want to touch on there before we move on?
Yeah.
Go, Lee.
Sorry. That's where I fall down a lot, is I procrastinate, but that's because I don't have a clear decision. And I guess like you were saying, you need to grow and expand into that. So I just find that I'm slowly getting there, but I'm surely getting there. And just to make that decision and go, no, I'm going to do it, and get real clear on it. So that's just reminded me to actually do that. Thank you.
Good on you, Lynette. Fantastic. And with that, I think Carly or Veronica wanted to go next. But with that, I'm going to be putting forward tonight to the people who are the gold stars in NG about us actually going back and working at getting clear on the desire, and we're going to go through and we're going to actually put a training together to deliver it within NG for people to access, to get that clarity. And we're going to work together on a weekly basis as to where people are at, and use it as a level of accountability as well, just to take it to a whole other level. So yeah, so I might not have many people on the call afterwards for those who are on this call now. But yes, thank you, Lynette, for reminding me of that. Veronica.
Yes, I'm loving what all you're saying about team, because I'm just learning how to collaborate and how to be in teams. So it's really nice to get that focus on how we can all actually be aiming for the same thing on a team when we all have different kind of ideologies and different focus and skill sets. So thank you for that. And I was thinking, like, it's hard for me to find an example of when I'm being indecisive, but if I look at the other side of the coin, and when I look at when I have actually been decisive, things happen. Like when I decided I was going to get a new car showed up, and it was no effort. And that's the difference. And that means that all the other times when things aren't working, somehow I am actually being indecisive. And to identify that at the time would be a powerful way to turn it around.
Yeah, great share, Carly. Thank you, Monica.
I totally agree, V. That is exactly the same with me, because a lot of times I am not clear because I'm too busy worrying about everyone else and not my own decision. I've always been someone that wants to help everyone, and by doing that, I'm not really fully utilizing who I am on the earth. I'm able to help many, but not fully bring what I am on the earth. Like, it's not just us. It's not just we. It is I. We need all three parts. Or if I wasn't here and Rosa wasn't here, then it's not us anymore. There's two missing from the team.
Yeah.
You know, so my decision needs to also be in alignment, not just everyone else's decision to help them. Mine needs to be there so that I'm more powerful in our team.
Yeah.
So I love your idea of doing the vision and the goal and all that. I'm looking forward to that. So thank you, Martin.
You're welcome, Carly. And let's, some of you may or may not know about football, so soccer to some of you. But who would you say is the most well-known player in the world right now? Beth's already shouted it out.
I only know David Beckham from the old famous ones.
He was probably the most well-known back then, but right now it's Cristiano Ronaldo. He's by far the best. But when you look at it, he shows up because, one, he loves the game, and it's what he does, and it's his job, but it's what he does. He doesn't have to do it anymore, but he loves it. But let's face facts. If he was the only player that showed up for Juventus, there is no way Juventus would win that game. They would get absolutely slaughtered, or rather, he would get slaughtered in regards to the goals against him. There's no way he could win. So that's the importance. And this is why I constantly say to you all, please never underestimate your value that you bring to this call, your value that you can bring to stepping up onto another playing level. So we can view this as this public call. There's no doubt there's value in it, but it comes down to what do you want to receive? This is a nice touch point. We learn and we grow here. But like Veronica said, when Veronica heard about NG in particular, she came straight in, and the growth Veronica has had has been exponential. Carly, another person, straight in. The growth in Carly, exponential. And why? A decision was made. Chose to show up, chose to be an active team player. So we have two options. We either sit there and watch, or we choose to make a decision to get up and play. Because I know it tonight at 9 o'clock, my time here in Perth, I get on a call with some extremely successful people from around the world. And I sit there and I listen to them. And it's a proper mastermind, and I can interact whenever I want, but I listen and I learn and I grow. I would not have that opportunity. I would not have been invited if I hadn't have made a decision to show up, if I hadn't have made a decision to take action. Because that's what's seen, and that momentum is where it's going to take you. And there's two levels of fear. There's the fear of not doing it, and there's the fear of doing it. What if success isn't for me? What if I don't achieve it? What if I do achieve it? There's two levels of fear around success, not achieving it and achieving it. But the greatest thing about it is that everything to this point in your life, you had no idea of the result. I didn't have any idea of the result. And every decision I've made, it might not have taken me in the direction I wanted to go because I wasn't clear on the desire, but I'm still grateful for who I am and the lessons I've learned, because it's made me who I am. But I now have a choice, because it's become, as what we would have classed as before, it was unconscious. It's now a conscious decision. There's a reason why this book is in front of me. I can either choose to make a decision and act upon it. The next chapter is procrastination. And as I'm reading it, I'm going, wow, I have so much I've procrastinated on that it's now time to step up. But I know that it's time for me to step up now, because the people that I'm surrounding myself with are the people who are stepping up themselves. They're the people who want more and are showing up as a stronger team player. And I need those team players, because I know that if I was Ronaldo on the pitch on my own, I'm not going to win. I need to make sure my mastermind alliance is so strong that I can put all my faith, which is chapter 2, I can put all my faith, which is chapter 3, in the people around me, to know that they're going to turn around and say, Martin, you said you were going to do this. And I'm not going to cower away and make excuses. I'm going to go, thank you for being that team player that's given me the kick up the backside to get me moving forward. Because there's no point sulking on the substitute bench and saying, oh, I never got an opportunity. The opportunity is there, and the people around us to say that. That's why, with all due respect, we don't go to that depth on this call, because we probably terrify a few people. But I want to be terrified, because that's where the enjoyment takes place. That's the excitement. And I know that when Veronica looks at me with a stern look and she terrifies me, I know that inside she's like, I love you and I want to see you succeed. And that's why I want to show up like this right now. And I give her that presence. Not saying she does, but I give her that opportunity to step in there. That's what's important. As you read deeper and you accept the information from this book, it will truly connect you on to a higher level, and you are worthy of everything that you desire to have. But I encourage you to look at what they said about Andrew Carnegie. The 50 people he surrounded himself with on the Mastermind Alliance is the reason why he became the wealthiest person in the world back then. Not just financially, what he gave. He gave us this book. It was his idea to send Napoleon out there. 25 years Napoleon did to create this. And we're learning and leveraging it right now. Talk about a legacy. Talk about a commitment to one's work. Mom, I know you put your hand up.
yeah, I was just going to say about, I know you just touched on football, but it's been really interesting about the English football team. And the beauty of the English football team is their actual manager, who has taught them all that you alone are not the most important person on the pitch. We are a team. And for the first time in English football for years and years and years, the lads understand they are a part of a team, and they play their best football to be part of that team and to encourage the others in the team. But it started from him instilling that and not listening to the know-alls outside that know nothing. He doesn't listen to anybody. He makes his decision and he supports them lads 100%. And I can call them lads because to me they're only bits of kids. 100%. But he has instilled into them, if this is what you want and you want to be part of this team, you play your best every time, and we work together. And I think that's why they are where they are. And it's interesting what you were saying, you know, gone of the days for England at the moment when it was Beckham and it was the other fella that used to swear a lot and create havoc, little fella from Everton. Gone of them days. They're all so important, and it matters. It really does. And it makes me understand more about all of this. When you listen to him and listen to the players, you think, God, have they been on our masterminds? Because they're saying exactly what we're saying.
Yeah, great share there, Mum. I just got a message to you. So this is Think and Grow Rich. So Monday, this is Think and Grow Rich, and we're doing the chapter decision, okay, right now. So you don't need to have read it because we bring things up, but it definitely does help. And the goal is that we will be covering through and going deeper on this. But there's also two. So I've got. I love making notes. This book is it's a workbook. It's not a book to not be touched. It's designed to be worked with. So the majority of people who fail to accumulate money sufficient for their needs are generally easily influenced by the opinions of others. They permit the newspapers and the gossiping neighbors to do their thinking for them. Opinions are the cheapest commodities on earth. Everyone has a flock of opinions ready to be wished upon anyone who will accept them. So let me give you an example. I'm sat in the cottage with my mum when I'm discussing about moving to Australia, and there I am, and I say to and my mum's friend who she was living with, her boyfriend's there, and he said, "But I don't know why you want to go to Australia. Everything's out there to kill you." And my response was, if everything's out to kill you, how do people live there then? And he was like, well, there's a show. There was a TV show, Australia's Deadliest Animals. And I watched and I was like, yeah, it looks like there's some nasty animals, but pretty sure if everyone else can survive there, I'll be all right there. And if I had listened to his opinion, then I would have stayed in England. And I'm not saying that I would have been any better or any lesser than I am now, but I know for a fact that my decision to come here, the unknown for me, to create a new life on my own, has been the best decision for me. My mum would say it's not been the best decision for her, but it's been the best decision for me and my life. And my mum knows that when she comes over and she sees me here, she can see that it's the right decision for me. And my life got better for me because of that decision that I made. But I don't listen to the opinions. When I went through the mental health stuff, people were telling me to go back to England. And I refused to do it because it didn't feel right. I've been told in what I've done when I stepped into network marketing, it's a pyramid scheme. You're going to lose all your money. They're going to take all your money. You're going to be abused and all that. Really? Is that the truth or is that the opinion? And like Napoleon says, they'd be very careful of letting those opinions sink in. And you'll notice now, if you see any of my stuff on YouTube, and it's more so YouTube because of the things that I talk about on there, if somebody says something that is just their opinion, I'll always go in and say, thank you for your opinion. Because that's what it is. It's not their fact. Nobody's walking in my shoes. I'm not walking in your shoes. I don't know the challenges you have, but we all have challenges. We all have up days, we all have down days. But it's what we're doing. If we're going around doing, basically, if we don't have a desire, we don't have a definiteness of purpose, we're going around in figure eights. Veronica just shared it before. When she made those clearly defined decisions, it was based on clearly defined goal, which got the result. We know this is the truth, yet we still get caught up. But the only reason why we often get caught up is because we don't choose to show up. We don't choose to put ourselves in situations that are going to constantly challenge us. And that's why I invite you all to step up and challenge yourself and come and join us on this, what we're going to work on to go through your definiteness of purpose, to go through your desire, to reverse engineer that. Because, and even if turn around, persistence in that time, you spoke about, but people say it's just not the right time. When is the right time? When I used to be a trainer, I used to work in the mines, and I remember this guy. He was 150 odd kilos. He was about 5'6", 5'7". So he wasn't tall and carried the weight well. He was a big guy. And I said to him, "Come to my spin class." "Oh, no. I'm not going to bloody spin. I need to get myself fit before I can go to spin." I said, "The fastest way for me to help you lose that weight and get you fit is to get you on a spin bike." He was terrified. Honestly, he was petrified. At the end of the class, he came over and said to me, "That was the best exercise I've ever done. It was fun. I worked my backside off." And do you know what? He came every week. He got on the same bike in the same position, and he gave 110%. And he lost a lot of weight and got into great health for over the period of time, over the 3 months. But if I hadn't have been as stern as I needed to be with him, he would have been just dawdling around the gym, and he would have continued, potentially, highly likely, on the same path as he was walking. But it needed that person to say, "Get in there. You're going to enjoy it. And if I don't see you in there, I will find you tomorrow." Like, that was my attitude, because I believed that I could help him, and I believed it's what he needed. When I stepped into that call with Mark Santos for the first time in NG, I knew that's where I needed to be. And Mark said, if you keep showing up here, Martin, you will receive what you need to receive. And I just chose to keep showing up. And I've received far more than I could ever have imagined, and far more than anybody could have told me I'd imagine. And not only is it with what I received as in the business growth, in my personal growth and so on, but in the connections and the friendships, the relationships on this call and beyond. I have some of the most powerful friendships and relationships, far more, with all due respect to my mum being on this call, far more than family members that I've grown up with, far more than friends that I've grown up with people I've never physically met. I have stronger relationships. And do you know what? I know for a fact that they have my desires, my vision, my purpose in their corner, and they are cheering me on. More so than possibly family members and some of my closest friends. Think about the power of that. And that all comes from making a decision that's clearly defined based on your desire. That's all it is. Those people will show up. We've said this many times. You don't need to know the how. You just need to know what you want to go and achieve. The how will take place. The reason why we're all here right now, the reason why Veronica came into my life. No, Veronica's helped me meet Gary. Gary and I have past life stuff. You know, Carly and I have become so close in regards to the stuff, and Carly's shifting and helping me. And Carly has gone out, and Veronica offered this as well. But Carly went out of her way and did a healing session on me recently whilst I was asleep. I was that tired. And she's like, "Oh, you've got all this out of balance." I messaged Veronica and say, "Veronica, my shoulder." She's straight into Ina Segal's book. She's taken a picture and sent it to me. These people genuinely care about me. And I know that however I can repay them and however I can give that back, I'll give it back tenfold. not because I want to make sure that they're there in my corner when I need stuff. It's because I genuinely care about helping others. I'm clear on where I'm going. They're clear on where they're going. And when you're clear on where you're going, you naturally attract to help each other succeed, irrelevant of if the mountain's different on the top. If I'm going to look left and you're going to look right, it's irrelevant. It's about you coming together and helping each other. Mother.
No, you just touched on something there, Martin, that reminded me just recently. For the last 2.5 years, I've been trying to get my cholesterol level down and my blood sugar levels down. And I've tried everything. I've even given up alcohol for nearly 4 years, and it will go down and then it will come back up. And at the beginning of this year, I got the help of a herbalist, which is a long story, but anyway. And at the beginning of this year, she said to me, you need to reduce your carbs. And I went, yeah, no problem, yeah. 3 months into it, she said, how's the reducing of the carbs? I said, well, they've not happened. She said, look, Rosa, we need to sort this out. And it was her sternness that made me make the decision. But the biggest problem I had was Dave, my hubby, because his argument was, well, you've given up sugar, you've given up alcohol, you've given up gluten, and you're going to give up carbs. What are you going to live off? I said, Dave, I don't know, but we'll work something out. But Dave couldn't hack that. So by constantly having him telling me, I didn't do it, but I made the decision in May to do it. And although I've not done it 100%, it has dramatically reduced. I had a blood test the other day, dramatically reduced my blood sugars and my cholesterol level. So I couldn't wait for Dave to get home yesterday to say to him, see, Andrea and I were right about the carbs and I've lost weight. So, but I had to make that decision. And I think in a way, I didn't want to make the decision because I didn't want to put the hard work that I knew initially I would have to undertake. But once you're 2 or 3 weeks in, it all starts to fall into place. And so I just wanted to share that. One, I'm absolutely made up with myself, as you can imagine. If I could have hugged the doctor, I would, but he sent it me via text message, so that was no good.
Yeah, well done, Mum. Well done. I just wanted to get in a few of these points that I also had got on. And I know that I've done most of the talking, so if anybody really feels that they want to share, the floor is yours. And you may want to share on this one. I'll actually share this and then I'll quieten down a bit. If you are influenced by the opinions of others, you will have no desire of your own. Keep your own counsel when you begin to put into practice the principles described here by reaching your own decisions and following them. Take no one into your confidence except the members of your mastermind group, and be very sure in your selection of this group that you choose only those who will be in complete sympathy and harmony with your purpose. So before I open the floor up, note the wording. People who will be in complete sympathy and harmony. That's not people when you say, oh, I was too busy, and they go, oh, it's okay, don't worry about it. I know life gets in the way. It's people that actually challenge you and say, is that an excuse? And you can sit back and you go, yeah, it's an excuse. Like, these are things to be important of. You're looking for those people. And I said this to my mum last night. I want Beth's dad. Now, they've got a guy who's successful in business, but what's his main focus? Are you going to look after my daughter? So if there's anyone who's going to kick me up the backside, it's Beth's dad. But I also know that he values me and he respects me, and he's 100% behind what we do. So I know that I can speak to him, confide in him, but I also know that he'll go even say, Martin, this is what we said we were going to do. This is the advice. This is the input. It's not just about kicking people at the backside. It's people accessing, going, what do you think about this? What would you do? And it's getting that information. So be aware of who you want to mastermind with, because you don't just want anybody. And it's easy to say, oh, I'd like that person because, you know, they're a friend of mine and they'll be nice. Maybe they're not the right person. As hard as that pill is to swallow, maybe they're not. So from an angle of me opening it to the floor on what he said there around, be aware of your counsel, focus on your mastermind group. Who here would like to share anything around what they're thinking about or what their experience has been?
Well, there's a biblical scripture talking in Proverbs. It's about say wisdom or something sought in a multitude of counselors. And I know when I am thinking of taking a step of some sort, it's always good to run it by a couple of people whose opinion you think would well convince you one way or another, even if people disagree or they agree for that matter. It's just how they, you know, what they say. And if you haven't thought of a new idea, or there's an element of warning, you know what I mean, you need to take an extra caution. I've had that a number of times. I can't give you specific examples, but then I go, yeah, you know, it's good. I think I've gone ahead and done it, but the fact is you've sought advice and good. But, you know, going back to primary school, even high school, when you're in a group, you've got a group of people, some you know well, you like, some you don't. But, you know, when no one knows what to do and they wait on somebody else, they're seeking someone else's opinion and decision, then and it's like follow the leader, no matter where it's to. And that's not wise either. But, you know, when we're young, we can do it. But I see so many adults, even mature age, like over 60, who do the same thing, I believe.
Yeah, cheers, Roger. You actually made me think about, I'm not sure if it's in this chapter, thoughts. Oh, I'm in persistence now. One of them in the chapters on, I think it's decision, actually spoke about you'll either be a follower or a leader. Because I've kept powering on through. I've done a few more chapters since then, but it was saying that there's nothing wrong in being a follower if you're an intelligent follower and you're looking and you're learning from the leader. But if you're following without any ambition, you're basically allowing the person who's the leader to row your own boat, and that boat's going to go in the direction that they want to go, and you'll get to that destination and you'll go, where the hell am I? Because you don't want to be there, which is often referred to as working a job as well, because the employer has an end goal. You know, and this is where they say around a job is there. You're supposed to feel satisfied working your job. You're supposed to go because you're satisfied to be there and it's doing something of value to you, knowing you're contributing. And if you don't feel that, you're in the wrong career. So if you think about the angle of that, you're actually being a follower through that, unless you're very clear on your desire and you know that what you're doing has a means to an end to get you to where you want to get to. So if I reflect back on getting into Australia, if I had known when I was 16 that I wanted to live in Australia and I would need a trade to get me into Australia, then going and doing an apprenticeship in that trade would have served me. The trade did serve me because I enjoyed it and I was very good at it, but it actually took me to the next level of getting into Australia, because without that trade, I might not even be here right now. So I've got gratitude for that, even though I was unconsciously doing it for a bigger purpose. And that bigger purpose has now helped me be where I am right now, because I confidently would say there's no way I'd be who I am right now. I wouldn't be thinking the way I am. Look, I mean, even my mum's shaking her head. There's no way I would have even gone down that road. So when you start to connect the dots, you start to see there's a reason why Lynette, Carly, who are in different legs to the company that we're in, we've met for a reason. And we look at it and we go, are we going to utilize that reason and make it become very clear, or aren't we? That's the choice. You know, that's when Lynette said that she had an opportunity last week to there was a date, I think they said, Lynette, and it got changed. I'm sharing this now, and it got changed, and she had an opportunity. She was enjoying something. There's nothing wrong with that, Lynette. That's nothing wrong with that. And there was an opportunity to come on this call or not, and she chose to, and she received value. And I said to Lynette, I am proud of you, and I genuinely meant it, totally sincere. I'm so proud of you for choosing to do that, because I know with the communication that I have with Lynette that she receives value and it's helping her get to where she wants to get to. But I also know that when Lynette disappears, it's not serving her. And that's why I'm like, Lynette, come back here. You're a team player. If you don't show up, Lynette, we've got someone on the wing missing, and we need you on the wing, running up and down, collecting the ball and putting it in towards us. We need you. You're a team player. And it doesn't matter if we keep it on that level now of business. It doesn't matter on the rank within a company or whatever it would be. It's about the value you bring, the energetic value you bring. You don't need to necessarily say things. You know, one of the things Napoleon speaks about in his book is listen, shut up and listen, which I was reading and going, how can I shut up more and listen? But I also know that I play a role to communicate. And without that, it may be a bit of a silent call sometimes. We need that person. We need that captain, that leader that's running forward, but at the same time encouraging everybody else to run forward who said they want to run forward, which is an important point. I'm not here to pull anybody. I'm not here to push anybody. I'm here to say, this is where I'm going and this is what I'm making available. If you want it, it's here. My hand's reached out, but I ain't coming down to you. You need to come up. You need to grab it and let's get up that other end of the pitch, because that's where we'll achieve our goals. Not back here, not sitting around where we already are right now. And that beautiful thing of doing it together is why we achieve far quicker. Why we achieve far quicker.
And Martin, even that takes a decision, an internal awareness of what you want, a choice point to decide I'm going to show up today in anything you're doing. Like you've got to decide how many glasses of water you're going to drink. Or yes, I'm not going to have those pieces of bread today because they're going to create sugar in my body. Like everything's a decision.
100%.
You might as well make this one a decision and come in here and learn off each other and have an amazing hour with each other just once a week and see what you get out of it. Like see what growth you notice in yourself and get aware of that, and then make a decision from that growth of people's wisdom that we're all bringing individually, and make a decision, oh, hang on, I can choose something. I can actually change my paradigm. I can choose something different. But I wasn't aware of that an hour ago until I jumped on this call. That's just 1 hour, one decision, and you didn't waste your hour. You got to contribute by being here, sharing your part of your story, and from that make a different decision because of your new internal awareness, even for yourself out of that.
Yeah, beautifully shared there, Carly. There's a chapter here that touches on, and I'm just aware of the time as well. In part of this chapter, it touches on the schooling system, and some of the people on this call are in the coaching space, and they know about the stuff that we unconsciously carry from childhood, and it can go back generational stuff, but it through childhood. So we're going in the schooling system here, and it says the habit of indecision acquired because of the deficiencies of our school systems goes with the student into the occupation that they choose, if in fact they choose this occupation at all. Generally, the youth out of school seeks any job that they can find. They take the first place they find. because they have fallen into the habit of indecision. 98 out of every 100 people working for wages today are in the positions they hold because they lacked the definiteness of decision to plan a to plan a definite position and the knowledge of how to choose an employer. So think about how it's constantly chasing you through life. Like, it's constantly there. It's deep, buried deep in your subconscious. And especially when you look at, for those of us who have gone through any of the work in NG with Bob Proctor, and he talks about the body and the mind, and the subconscious and the conscious mind, and how the subconscious mind's controlling, and some people go deeper, but the body's moving based on the subconscious. You think the conscious is dealing with it. The conscious is like, I'm not in control at all here. I think I'm in control. It's kind of like a male and a female in a relationship. The male is the conscious, and the female's the subconscious. The male thinks he's in control, but there's no chance. So this is what's taking place, and the body's just going around, and you're saying, but hang on, I want you to go this way. And the body's like, no, I go this way. And this is all taking place whilst you're trying to achieve things. So that's why, one, it's important to get around these people who 100% go and they bring their value and their knowledge, and they say, hey, I've noticed this, and I would like to offer you some of the value that I am aware of, that I've become aware of, that I can share with you to help you. And you'll start to notice how things shift. And if you're open to it, you've got to be open to it. Otherwise, these people will not come into your vicinity. These messages, this level of value will not come into your vicinity. And then you start to shift, and you start to let go of things that you unconsciously, so you didn't even know about this, they were unconsciously not serving you. You couldn't understand why you couldn't get past that terror barrier. Another video of Bob Proctor's in there, why you couldn't break free of it. It's right there to do it. And when you break free and you literally start to feel these chains being taken off your shoulders, and you start to feel lighter. I've seen you, Roger, there. You start to feel light, and you start to grow. You start to feel like you can fly. And as you're starting to feel like you can fly, all of a sudden somebody grabs you and pulls you back down again just to remind you that you can't fly. But that's okay. Because you need that to just go, okay, well, I've experienced that. I want to go and experience more. And it's that constant striving and taking you up. But it's from a place of being clear on where you want to go, the decisions that you're going to make that are aligned with your desires. Comes right the way back to it. And it needs that help and support. And the reason why Andrew Carnegie had 50 people around him, 50 people to make sure he was on track and he was accessing those minds. Why Henry Ford had the people around him to help him. You know, these are people that we aren't aware of because of the time in our life, but these are people who have shared their experience and wisdom. A lot of this stuff, the universal laws, has come from people way before our time. And we can't kid ourselves. It's true. It's nature. It's Mother Nature that's being presented to us in many different forms. And the people who are preaching it today, like myself, or like the likes of Tony Robbins and Dr. John DeMartini and Joe Dispenza, they're just basically sharing eternal truths in our world today and helping us understand it, rather than listening to what comes across as a male-dominating world, which it was back then. But they bring it into a conscious level of all of humanity rather than just male. And we can access this and we can accept it for what it is, but it's eternal truths. You can't make new eternal truths. Eternal truths are eternal, been around forever. And we access that and we learn from it, and we learn from each other, and we succeed based on where we want to go. But we all have to get clear, including myself. I'm not immune to this, including myself. We all have to get clear, because I know that I've achieved one of my biggest goals that I set out to achieve last year. I'm doing it right now. We're touring around Australia, living this new lifestyle. So that goal that I had and that desire that I had put in there needs to change. Because as long as it remains there as my number one prime desire and goal, I'm not allowing anything else to come in, so I'm staying stagnant. I'm not growing. See the importance of constantly evolving around it and having those people say, hey, wasn't your desire or your goal to be on the road? Well, You're already doing it. What do you want to do now? I go, oh, thanks for reminding me. I got caught up in living in this moment, which is nothing wrong with that. But if I want to become more than I am, I have to have something clearly defined in front of me. Roger.
Yeah, because I was traveling and I could only hear bits when I traveled. But I wanted to share, like, it was good to see about your vision, but maybe years ago, and I cut out a lot of the other stuff to keep it as succinct as I can. But in '96, a fellow came to Bundaberg. I was with a group of Christian businessmen. We invited people and invited him to speak, and it was this invitation, like a call to go. It's like, not quite like a missionary trip to China, but something, if you know, goodwill. And I felt this thing in my heart go, say yes to go, and I did. And like it was a torture going, leading up to the money came because I didn't have enough money. But look, I went. I got a passport for the first time in my life, and I had changed my mind about. Well, I'd left teaching at that stage, but it was about going and teaching Chinese kids who had it tougher than we do. You've got to see some of the conditions, even so-called some of the good schools. And I thought, when I was that age, I was a whinger. Oh my God. I was a successful whinger though, some didn't. And I just thought, I was complaining, why? They got it worse than I did. And I thought, well, it was about teaching English. I don't like teaching English. I hate it. But I've got a wife and I've got to help her, you know what I mean? But it was about teaching, but going somewhere where someone actually wants you to impart in their life. A bit different in Australia, because the kids carry on. Some are really good, some are, and I always got the ones mostly who didn't give up. You know what I mean? But then I went back the year later by myself. I went from Bundaberg as a group of 6. We did a bit of a drama thing. Me, actor, drama. That's another miracle. And that wasn't in my vision, but it somehow manifested. I don't know where it came from. Must have been from the divine. And somehow it suited me. Vanity, funny enough. Anyway, they had different characters. But then I went back by myself and the money came. But then I had 3 years of like a drought. I mean, I wish I did a drought like you, Martin, go around Australia, but I mean, who knows? But then I went, I got invited from one of the first people I met in China, a young Chinese lady, sent me 2 jobs, and I took a job at American International School where I met my wife. But my invigoration teaching science and maths to Asian kids was different, but it just brought me back to teaching. And then I continued to chop and change the jobs, and sometimes I wonder whether I'm going to be teaching or not, but then something happens to bring me into it. But I just wonder if it's a bit like this mastermind and the whole idea, like Think and Grow Rich, but Science of Growing Rich, like I did with Carly's group or not long ago. It's about, and I did this actually in my master's degree. So I've got a master's degree. I started in complete when I was over 50. Oh my God, there's another miracle, But it's about getting your will and your philosophy and just how you shape it. And I think the mastermind way of being able to, and the way you can work with Noble Goldman is ideal. I'm doing some tutoring now. I was sharing with Carly that last time. I've got 10, it's teaching maths online, but behind this computer. But that it only earns me $30 an hour for about 10 classes a week. But I think the mastermind with the pay it forwards, well, I know it's changed a bit. It's going to suit me better, but I can have 1 or 2 classes a week and earn more, but have a lot more fun. But the science and, well, I'm teaching maths and I only knocked it because I'd rather be teaching chemistry. But the passion, that's my heart. But the mastermind is like pushing people in the direction I think they need to go and being able to paint a vision. So I've got a few ideas of people I want to get into my mastermind. Some I know, but I thought I want to start there because, once I start to feel myself being pulled in the wrong direction, I can change what I want to do in that mastermind and then maybe have better discernment and being able to pick people better. What do you think?
Yeah, well, the key is to, if you're wanting to make your own mastermind, the key is to be clear on what you want to do, how you want to show up and how you want to present it. Because when you're clear on what you want to do, the people you want to attract in there will then automatically come. They'll be attracted to it. If you try and do it to suit everybody else, it will never work. because you'll never make anybody else happy. That's why when I trialed different things that I thought were right for me, until I found a place where I was like, you know what, this is how I want to do it. And this is where I'm at right now. But I know that that's going to evolve, because in the next few weeks, once we go to the next level, which Carly's aware of, we're just going to, and we're going to basically revamp the whole of NG to make it a lot more user friendly and stuff. It's just going to change so much on the outside, which means this call will probably change. So it's that thing of there's a point in your life where you look and go, what's the most valuable commodity we have? Can anybody tell me? The one most valuable commodity we have?
Time.
Time.
Oh.
Time. That's all that we have is time. So we've all committed to over an hour right now of our time. So we only have a very small, based on the universal, time doesn't exist, but we only have a very small period of time on this planet in life. So what are we going to do with it? Because as soon as we're here, it's not really that long that we're gone. When we look at how long the Earth's been here and the different cultures and so on. So we look at it and go, well, how do I want to utilize my time? And the only way you can be clear on how you want to utilize your time is when you get clear on your self-worth. Because when you're clear on your self-worth, you then start to look at, where am I going to devote my time? Where is it going to be devoted to serve me? Which, if I'm serving myself, not from a place of ego, or arrogance, from a place of serving self along with core values and letting that overflow to help impact other people, then naturally, if I'm setting up a mastermind, for instance, and delivering that, the value is going to overflow to everybody else who chooses to join that. I'm also going to receive value from everybody who comes onto that call, because the only way that they're attracted to this call is if they align with what we're talking about, if they align with the vibration. Now, that vibration might feel like it's up here. Some people might come on this call and go, whoa, this is way too much for me. They may feel triggered. Some of them might go, do you know what? This is too low for me. But the important thing is that, hey, we're setting this here. Now, I know for a fact, with all due respect, and this is no disrespect to anybody else, that I can raise it up here. And Carly's been on those calls in particular with me where we just completely raised it. And it's not raising it from a place of we're better than anybody else. It's just an angle of the time we have, the communication that needs to be discussed, and where we're going does not have the availability of wasted time. One of the guys who you may have heard of, Gary Vaynerchuk, he said, stop having 14-minute meetings over an hour. Start respecting yourself enough to be clear in your communication. I have people who say to me, my communication is shocking. You're too abrupt. And I go, no, I value my time and I value your time. If you want to sit there and have a good chin like having a coffee and a scone, that isn't me. I'm not there for that. If you say to me, Martin, I need you and I need you to spend some time with me, I'll be there. But when it comes down to where I'm going with my definiteness of purpose, my goals, my vision, I am not wanting to dilly-dally. I want to be very clear. So then you start to look and you try a few different things and you go, okay, this works. And it's those three questions. What works? What doesn't work? What can I do better? What works? What doesn't work? What can I do better? They're the three most powerful questions you can ask yourself at the end of every week, if not at the end of every month. Ask yourself those three questions and reflect. Because if you have a goal to get out of financial strife so that you can have more time with your family or travel the world or whatever it is to pay the bills, to not have to have financial stress, you got to look at it at the end of the week and go, what did I do that was going to help me get towards that? Because if you're doing in a way, this is important to know, if we're doing the same thing as we were always done, what are we going to get? The same thing as we've always got. That's why I was saying before around, we're going to go and get very clear on where we all want to go, and we're going to reverse engineer it, and we're going to look at where can we leverage, because leverage is a huge part. It goes back to the team. Ronaldo leverages the goalkeeper to try and prevent the ball going in the back of his own goal. He relies on the defenders. He leverages the defenders. He leverages the midfield so that they bring the ball forward to him in attack to score the goal. Everybody leverages when they work together to reach a common goal, we succeed. But we have to be willing to show up, put the kit on, and step onto that field.
And it all comes back to decision. Individual decision, team decision, still comes back to the individual decision. No matter what you've just spoken about, which is all perfect, even in all of that, it is still an internal decision, yours only you can really make it. And the best thing to do is come to a mastermind like this and find some new awareness around that kind of decision, and then go from there and make your own decision. What do you want?
Yeah, absolutely. And look at it from that place of, if you, as I said earlier, there's nothing wrong with being an intelligent follower. So if you value somebody and you admire somebody, whoever it is, you're inspired by somebody, you look and go, okay, and you ask them, where are you going? You know, so in the next few weeks, I'll have gone through and I've got very clear on what my desire is, what my goals are. And you come and ask me, Martin, what's your desire? What's your purpose? What are your goals? And I share them with you and I say, that's where I'm going. You now have an opportunity to be inspired to create your own. You have an opportunity to go, do you know what? That aligns with me, and that's where I want to go as well. Is there space for me to be on that train with you? And my response is, there's space. But how badly do you want it? When that train's leaving the station, are you willing to chase that train to jump in? Because I'm hanging out the door ready to pull you in. But when that train goes speed, are you going to start being scared and want to jump out? Or are you going to sit there and go, I am ready to get to that destination. I'm going to do what it takes. If you need me to go to the back there and get the shovel, or go to the front rather, get the shovel and throw some coal in the engine to get the fire cranking, I'm there ready with the shovel. You don't even need to ask me. I'm already there ready. This is the way. So I'm constantly looking at, who is it that I align with? Now, there's people in the business I'm associated with who are far higher ranked than me, who have achieved far more success and are financially free and all that stuff. Do you know what? I'm not aligned with them. I'm aligned with other people whose vision is far bigger than just achieving a rank, with all due respect, of within the company, whatever that is. Their vision is far greater. My vision's far greater. You know, when Mark Santos said to me, by 2029, which is 7.5 years away, this community will have over 450 million members. My heart literally burst out my chest to think that I was going to play a role of helping potentially 450 million people with the value that I can share. Even if it was 1%, that's 45,000 people that I've positively impacted from just being on a call or sharing some level of wisdom or making a video that they can use to go and help them. Like, think of the power of that. We all have that potential in us. I'm no better than anybody else. And my mum will tell you, from a lad who was so shy, wouldn't say hello, to who he is today, who goes out there and has no problem with getting on stage and speaking. That's because of the inner belief, the self-worth, the confidence that I'm here to create and share value with other people. But I know that when I step down off that stage, even though I'm receiving the energy and the love and support, I know that when I step into this area, this is what's helping me become that person to step on stage. That's why I say, never underestimate the value you bring to the team as a player in this team. And I want to get out of the 4th division and rise to the elite division. That's what I want to be playing on. So who wants to come with me?
Can I say something? I had a good Christian friend of mine. He's younger than I am. I went to his memorial yesterday. He died last week. We usually caught up between 2 and 4 times a year. But he seemed to have been, even when he's young, he bought some cows before he could drive, and he grew them, and then he sold them, and he used the money to buy a car. And eventually he actually felt a divine calling, to go to Solomon's and help build a chapel in a really obscure part of the Solomons. And people just marveled at the buildings. How did they manage to get built there, and getting the materials there? But he had that vision, and he did it without an income for 6 to 12 months. He did some with the churches nearby here. And as you said, it's amazing when you make a decision based on the vision, but also you get that leverage of people alongside believing that the money's going to come. There's money, but other money will come. And what they've done, and it just amazed me. And he was one of my best friends. And I'm just thinking, I'm grieving. I said, I mean, okay, his wife, who's under 50, 4 kids, are all young, not married. They're grieving. And I thought, well, I can't put this about me. And then I thought, well, I'm a little older than him. I haven't got the same wheeling and dealing skills that he's got, but maybe, and let's put this in colloquial terms, I need to pull my finger out, and if I just get a 1 or 2 or vision and just build it like we were asked to in the mastermind, I might very well have, and I say might because it may take me longer, by Christmas having exactly what I've really been seeking for the last 10 or so years. So it's inspired me, and I actually had spoke to 1 or 2 of his sons about this and saying, hey, your dad left a legacy, you wanted the same one, but you might have something equally or more powerful, but than what he did. Like, he was a PE teacher like my mum, but he ended up moving into property development, made more money, and it's just going on. I thought, oh, God, it's just amazing. And he was my best friend, So, like I said, based on decision and the vision and faith and stuff like this. And so, like I said, it's inspired me I need to make some, changes, but I just need to, maybe that was we call in chemistry, a catalyst or an activation as you get something going.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, great share, Roger. And I thank you all, first of all, for all of your input. Even if you've not said a word, internally you've said words, and that energy has been felt. We remember, we're transmitters and receivers, so we receive value. It is time to go. We've got 5 minutes I've got 5 minutes to organize myself for the next call. But those of you who do want to discuss around what we're going to be working on, it's not going to be happening tomorrow, but we are going to be getting the ball rolling and discussing a bit tonight. But as of next week, we'll be starting to go through and go back to getting into desire and the purpose stuff and things like that. It's nothing to be feared, it's to be embraced, and it's going to help us all go there. So anybody who wants to do that, just feel free to reach out to me, and we'll address that and make it happen for you. But thank you as always for your time, your energy, your input, and I look forward to touching base with you all again next week, if not before.
Thank you. Night, everyone.
Bye, everybody. Thanks.
Bye.